2 days. That is all that stands between Arsenal Football Club and the biggest cup final they have faced in years. Wembley Stadium, Sunday afternoon, the Carabao Cup Final, Arsenal versus Manchester City. And right now, inside the Arsenal camp, the situation is extraordinary. Sources describe an atmosphere unlike anything seen in recent memory. Since Tuesday's Champions League qualification, there has been almost zero conversation about Europe inside that training ground. No discussion, no celebration, nothing. The entire squad, from the players to the coaching staff, is locked completely onto one thing only: Sunday. They did not even watch the Champions League matches on Wednesday. That is how focused this group is. But here is what makes this moment even more tense. Arsenal captain Martin Odegaard is in a race against the clock with a knee problem serious enough to keep him out of Norway's international squad. Jurrien, their first-choice right-back, hobbled off against Everton with an ankle and adductor concern and missed the Leverkusen game entirely. Key players, injury doubts, Wembley in 48 hours. The stakes could not be higher, and this club is walking straight toward them without blinking. This is where we are right now. Let us break down everything you need to know before Sunday. The official Carabao Cup account posted the graphic. 2 days to go. The trophy front and centre. Arsenal on the left, Manchester City on the right. It is real, it is happening, and the weight of that moment is being felt by everyone connected to this club. Now, here is my analysis of that simple image. When an official competition account posts a graphic like this, they are not just marking time. They are signalling that this final has captured the attention of the entire football world. The rivalry between these two clubs in recent seasons has been one of the most compelling storylines in English football. And now they meet at Wembley with a trophy on the line. The tension behind that 2-day countdown image is enormous. Peter Banks has been confirmed as the referee for Sunday's final. John Brooks will be on VAR. This matters more than people give it credit for. In a final of this magnitude between two clubs who have been at the top of English football for years, the officials' decision-making will be under the most intense scrutiny imaginable. Peter Banks is an experienced Premier League official. John Brooks on VAR adds another layer of accountability to the process. My analysis here is straightforward. The confirmation of the officiating team brings a degree of clarity that both sets of supporters needed. When the referee and VAR official are announced before a final, it signals that the Football Association wants transparency. Whether either appointment pleases both fan bases is another matter entirely, but the confirmation itself is an important administrative step. Now we get into something genuinely fascinating. It has emerged that Pep Guardiola will make a decision about his future with Manchester City after Sunday's final. He is due to go away for a few days following the game to reflect and decide whether he continues as the City manager next season. Read that again carefully. The manager of Manchester City heading into a major cup final is doing so while an enormous question mark hangs over his own future at the club. This is significant context for Sunday's game. When a manager is preparing for a final while simultaneously facing a personal career decision of this size, the dynamic inside the dressing room inevitably shifts. The players know, the staff know, and Guardiola himself is carrying that weight. Now, from a psychological standpoint, this could cut in two directions. Some managers perform at their absolute best when they feel they have nothing to lose. Others carry the distraction of uncertainty into the dugout. What makes Guardiola different is that his record in this exact competition is extraordinary. He has won all 4 of his previous EFL Cup finals in charge of Manchester City. 4 consecutive finals won between the 2017 to 2018 season and the 2020 to 21 season. No manager in history has ever won the trophy 5 times. Sunday is his chance to make history. My deeper analysis point here: Guardiola entering a potential final chapter at City, chasing a record that no manager has ever achieved, against a club that has been breathing down City's neck for years now. The motivation for him personally could not be higher. Arsenal will need to be absolutely prepared for a Manchester City side that may be playing for their manager's legacy. Let me take you through each club's path to the final because the detail matters. Arsenal began their campaign in the 3rd round with a 2-0 away win at Port Vale. They then beat Brighton 2-0 in the 4th round. The quarter-final was a tight affair against Crystal Palace, finishing 1-1 before Arsenal won 8-7 on penalty. That showed composure and nerve under the most extreme pressure. In the semi-finals, Arsenal defeated Chelsea 4-2 on aggregate, underlining their attacking quality across 2 legs. Across those 4 matches, Arsenal scored 9 goals at an average of 2.25 per game and conceded just 3. That is a strong balance of attack and defence in a knockout competition. What stands out in Arsenal's run is the variety of ways they found to win. The Port Vale and Brighton game showed clinical efficiency. The Crystal Palace shootout showed psychological strength. The Chelsea semi-final showed attacking dominance. A team that can win in multiple different ways is a dangerous team to face at Wembley. Now, Manchester City, their campaign has been relentless. 5 matches, 5 wins, not a single defeat. They beat Huddersfield 2-0 in the 3rd round, then won 3-1 at Swansea in the 4th round. In the quarter-final, they beat Brentford 2-0. Then in the semi-finals came their most dominant display. 2-0 away at Newcastle United, then 3-1 at home, securing a 5-1 aggregate victory that was as commanding as it sounds. Across those 5 games, City scored 12 goals at 2.4 per game and conceded just 2, a goals against average of 0.4 per game. That is extraordinary defensive solidity combined with sustained attacking threat. And individually, Ryan Cherki and Omar Marmus have each scored 3 goals in this campaign, ranking them among the competition's top scorers. Manchester City's Carabao Cup form this season has been the form of champions. They have not been tested in the way Arsenal were tested by Crystal Palace's shootout. They have controlled games, suffocated opponents and scored at will. The question is whether Arsenal's experience of navigating adversity gives them an edge in what could be a tight final. Head-to-head, the recent history. Now here is where the narrative gets genuinely interesting for Arsenal supporters. Historically, Manchester City have dominated this rivalry, winning 15 of the last 23 meetings. That is an important baseline figure to acknowledge. But the recent form tells a very different story. In the last 5 meetings between these two clubs, Arsenal have won 2 and drawn 3. Manchester City have not won a single one of those 5 fixtures. Let me walk you through those results. On the 21st of September 2025, Arsenal and Manchester City drew 1-1 in the Premier League. On the 2nd of February 2025, Arsenal beat Manchester City 5-1 in the Premier League, 5-1. That was a statement result. On the 22nd of September 2024, Manchester City and Arsenal drew 2-2. On the 31st of March 2024, Manchester City and Arsenal drew 0-0. On the 8th of October 2023, Arsenal beat Manchester City 1-0. Those 5 results tell you that the balance of power between these clubs has shifted meaningfully in the recent period. Arsenal have not lost to Manchester City in their last 5 encounters. They beat them 5-1 at the Emirates. That kind of result does not just reflect on the scoreline. It reflects on confidence, on belief, and on the psychological dynamic between the two squads. Arsenal players go into Sunday knowing they have beaten this Manchester City side convincingly not long ago. Before I go any further into this analysis, if you are watching this for the first time, please hit that subscribe button right now. This channel exists to give Arsenal supporters the kind of deep, thoughtful analysis that goes beyond the headlines. Every major story, every transfer update, every tactical breakdown, we cover it all here on Melissa Arsenal Analyst. Subscribe now and never miss a video. Opta, one of the most respected football analytics companies in the world, has published their match prediction for Sunday's final. Arsenal, 51.9% chance of winning. Manchester City, 24.8% chance of winning. When the numbers are laid out this clearly, it is worth pausing to appreciate what they represent. Opta's models are built on vast data sets, including recent form, squad availability, historical performance in similar matches, and dozens of other variables. For Arsenal to be given over 50% probability of winning while City sit at under 25% is a significant analytical statement. It does not mean Arsenal will win. Football does not work that way. But what it does mean is that the data-driven picture of this match strongly favours Arteta's side. Now, let us be completely honest about the situation Arsenal are managing heading into Sunday, because the injury picture is genuinely concerning. Jurrien Timber missed the Champions League second leg victory over Bayer Leverkusen after picking up an ankle issue during the Premier League win over Everton. He was initially able to continue but was forced off before half-time. There were also concerns about his upper leg, specifically the adductor and groin area, as he received medical attention from Arsenal's physio during that game. Mikel Arteta, when asked directly whether Timber could be fit for Sunday, gave an honest but uncertain answer. The situation is, in his words, that it will be a matter of days, but he was not sure. Here is the positive sign, though. Timber has been included in the Netherlands national team squad for upcoming international friendlies against Norway and Ecuador. His inclusion in that squad suggests the Dutch medical staff have received encouraging information about his condition, and there is a separate boost on the defensive front. Ben White returned to the starting lineup against Leverkusen. White's had a difficult season with multiple hamstring problems. He played approximately 60 to 70 minutes in that game and described the performance as feeling good. He acknowledged the frustration of the injury setbacks, but expressed optimism about finishing the season strongly. Now, for the more serious concern, Martin Odegaard, the Arsenal captain, is facing a race against the clock. He was excluded from Norway's squad for their upcoming international friendlies against Netherlands and Switzerland. That exclusion is significant because national teams rarely leave their captain and best player out unless the injury situation is genuinely uncertain. The knee problem Odegaard is managing is a real concern for Sunday. Arsenal could potentially walk onto the Wembley pitch for a Carabao Cup final without their captain. That is a major challenge for any club. Odegaard is not just a quality player. He is the heartbeat of this Arsenal side, the organiser, the creative fulcrum. If he cannot play, the team shape and dynamic will need to adjust. However, the return of White brings defensive security, and the positive signs around Timber mean Arteta may have most of his defensive options available. Victor Gyökeres spoke ahead of the final about something genuinely interesting. It was put to him that Sweden has already produced League Cup winning goal scorers. Zlatan Ibrahimovic scored a brace, including the winning goal in Manchester United's 2017 League Cup final win over Southampton. Alexander Isak scored what proved to be the winning goal for Newcastle United against Liverpool last year. When asked whether he wanted to add his name to that list, Gyökeres responded directly, "That would be good." His history in finals is worth examining carefully. In the Taça de Portugal final against Benfica last season, Gyökeres scored an absolutely vital penalty in the 11th minute of second-half stoppage time to level the score at 1-1. Sporting went on to win 3-1 in extra time. He also scored a penalty in the Allianz Cup final against Benfica in 2025, though Sporting lost that one on penalties despite a 1-1 draw. His one previous Wembley experience came in the playoff final between Coventry City and Luton Town. He assisted the equalising goal and created another chance that could have won the game before scoring in the penalty shootout. Coventry lost regardless, and that turned out to be his final game for the club before he moved to Sporting. Gyökeres has a history of delivering in the biggest moments. He scores in finals, he converts in shootouts, he creates chances under pressure. The one gap in his record is that he has not yet scored an open play goal in a cup final. Sunday represents his best opportunity to change that. And if he does, he would join Ibrahimovic and Isak as Swedish strikers who have defined a League Cup final. Gabriel Jesus spoke with real warmth about Arsenal's set-piece coach, Nicolas Jova. Jesus revealed that Jova was genuinely frustrated during a run of approximately 6 games without Arsenal scoring from a set-piece. Jova kept telling the squad they needed to score, pushing them in training to convert their dead ball opportunities. This small detail tells you something important about the culture inside this Arsenal squad. When a specialist coach is visibly frustrated and vocal about a specific area of the game, it creates accountability. It is not just the manager setting the standard, it is every member of the coaching team demanding excellence. The fact that Jesus speaks about Jova with admiration and a smile suggests this intensity is received as positive motivation rather than pressure. Set pieces could be decisive in a final. The work Jova has put into this area of the game may prove critical on Sunday. Here is a story that adds a deeply human dimension to the Gabriel Jesus narrative. After sustaining his anterior cruciate ligament injury in January 2025, Real Madrid sent him a letter of support. And it was not the first time. Real Madrid had also sent him a letter when he first sustained a serious injury during his time at Manchester City. In total, Real Madrid have sent Jesus 3 or 4 letters, all of which he keeps at home. This detail is striking for multiple reasons. Real Madrid do not send personal letters to players at rival clubs without reason. Their consistent gesture towards Jesus across multiple serious injuries speaks to genuine respect for him as a footballer and as a person. It also tells you something about the character of Jesus himself. A player who keeps those letters, who holds on to those gestures of goodwill, is a player with emotional intelligence and humility. That kind of character matters enormously when you are fighting back from serious injury. Declan Rice and Bukayo Saka will not be joining up with the England squad until after the Uruguay international, giving them additional rest and recovery time following the Carabao Cup final. Thomas Tuchel made the decision to allow 11 players to join their national teams late during this international break. This is an extremely thoughtful decision. Both Rice and Saka are essential players for Arsenal in every competition they are involved in. Allowing them additional days to recover, decompress and rest after a major final is the kind of long-term management that benefits both club and country. Tuchel receives credit here for understanding the broader picture of player welfare. Micah Richards made a bold claim about a potential Champions League quarter-final. He believes that if Arsenal and Barcelona were to meet in the last 4 of this year's competition, Arsenal would beat them. His reasoning was specific. If Barcelona played their characteristic high defensive line, Arsenal's forward players would thrive. He highlighted Martinelli specifically as someone who would absolutely love to run in behind that line. He also mentioned Gyökeres, noting that while he is not the quickest, he is a strong runner and that running in behind is exactly what he did so effectively at Sporting. This is a perspective grounded in tactical logic. Barcelona's high line has been exposed by teams with pace and directness. Arsenal, under Arteta, have developed the ability to stretch defences and attack space intelligently. Martinelli's movement and Gyökeres' physical running would present real problems. However, I will note that this remains a hypothetical scenario. The path to any potential Barcelona meeting would require Arsenal to first take care of Sunday's final and then navigate the Champions League quarter-finals. A nostalgic post circulated featuring a 17-year-old Cesc Fabregas alongside Arsène Wenger in training. The quote from Fabregas was powerful. He described Wenger as the best coach for young players, praising his ability to give opportunities, teach, and never shake under pressure. In the context of this Arsenal team right now, this quote carries resonance. Arteta is building something at Arsenal that echoes Wenger's philosophy in important ways. The trust shown to young players like Max Dowman, the development of the academy pathway, the belief that young talent can thrive in a competitive environment. Those are Wenger principles that clearly still run through the DNA of this club. It has emerged that both Manchester City and Arsenal are monitoring Sandro Tonali ahead of the summer transfer window. This is currently at the monitoring stage. It is a rumour. Nothing has been agreed. No bid has been submitted. I want to be clear with viewers that this is a transfer story to watch rather than act on. Monitoring a player and signing a player are two very different things. What is interesting is that both clubs who meet in Sunday's final are reportedly tracking the same midfielder. Tonali is a player of significant quality when at his best. The fact that Arsenal's name is linked to him suggests the club is looking at midfield reinforcement options for next season. But I repeat, this is at the monitoring stage only. Former Arsenal player Anders Limpar has issued a strong warning. He says that selling Martin Odegaard this summer would be a dangerous move for the club. His specific concern is that both Declan Rice and Martin Zubimendi would suffer significantly without Odegaard's presence in midfield. Limpar is identifying a structural issue that is worth taking seriously. Odegaard is not just a creative talent, he is the connective tissue of this Arsenal midfield. He links the defensive and attacking phases, he receives the ball in tight spaces, he drives forward at the right moments. Rice provides the defensive anchor and the driving runs from deep. Zubimendi provides the technical security in possession. But the creative direction, the final pass, the ability to unlock a low block, that is Odegaard's domain. Losing him would create a gap that is genuinely difficult to fill. Mosquera, Martin Zubimendi and David Raya have all been called up to the Spanish national team for the upcoming international break. 3 Arsenal players in the Spain squad is a statement about the quality of players Arteta has assembled. Raya has established himself as one of the best goalkeepers in European football this season. Zubimendi has been magnificent since joining the club. And Mosquera's call-up is a genuine breakthrough moment, recognition at international level for a young player who has developed rapidly. This is good for Arsenal. It is validation that the squad-building process is working. Thierry Henry made his position absolutely clear. He said he would repeat this 1,000 times. Just give him the league. That is all he wants. He stated directly that he does not care if Arsenal lose the Carabao Cup final on Sunday or even if they get knocked out of the Champions League. The Premier League title is all he is asking for. My analysis: Henry's honesty here is both understandable and revealing. As an Arsenal legend who came closest to winning the Premier League in the most recent era of dominance under Wenger, Henry understands better than most what that title would mean to this club's history. The Carabao Cup is a major trophy. The Champions League is the ultimate prize. But the Premier League represents sustained excellence across an entire season. It represents consistent dominance, and Arsenal have not won it for over 20 years. Henry's words remind us that while Sunday is enormously important, it is part of a bigger picture that this generation of Arsenal players has the opportunity to define. Mikel Arteta is expected to include young talent Max Dowman on the bench for Sunday's Carabao Cup Final. This follows Dowman's impressive recent performances, including his goal against Everton that caught the attention of England manager Thomas Tuchel. Tuchel himself spoke about Dowman with genuine enthusiasm. He described him as a fantastic talent. He noted that Dowman put himself in the spotlight with his goal against Everton. Tuchel acknowledged that at the current moment, Dowman competes for minutes and is not a regular starter for Arsenal. But he emphasised that Dowman is in the best environment possible and praised the teamwork culture at the club. Including Dowman in the matchday squad for a Carabao Cup final is Arteta sending a message. It is a message to the young player that his performances have been noticed and rewarded. It is a message to the squad that merit is recognised regardless of age or experience. And it is a message to the wider football world that Arsenal are developing elite young talent from within. At 17, having your England manager publicly discussing your chances of going to the World Cup is an extraordinary position to be in. The key for Dowman now is exactly what both Arteta and Tuchel are telling him. Keep going, keep competing, stay humble. The opportunity will come. Something has been reported from inside the Arsenal training ground that stopped me in my tracks when I read it. Sources close to the squad describe the atmosphere as remarkable. Since Arsenal qualified for the Champions League quarter-finals on Tuesday, there has been almost no conversation about that achievement inside the camp. Instead, the entire squad's focus has shifted completely to Sunday's final against Manchester City. Players reportedly did not even pay attention to the Champions League matches played on Wednesday. Such is the level of concentration on the task immediately ahead. This is the hallmark of a team with genuine title-winning mentality. Lesser squads celebrate qualification milestones and allow the emotion of reaching a Champions League quarter-final to carry them forward into the next fixture on an emotional high. What this Arsenal squad is doing is different. They are treating their Champions League achievement as done and dusted, filed away, and they have turned their full and undivided attention to Sunday's final. That collective mental discipline is not something that can be coached in a single session. It is the product of months, possibly years, of cultural building under Arteta, and it tells you something important about how seriously this squad is approaching Wembley. Alan Shearer told Betfair that if Arsenal win the Carabao Cup, the quadruple becomes, in his words, seriously on. He called Sunday's game enormous for both clubs. He described it as potentially Manchester City's last realistic chance at silverware this season. And he noted that if Arsenal win this one, the conversation about winning 4 trophies, something that has never been done before in English football, will intensify dramatically. Sporty TV's current probability estimates support the scale of Arsenal's opportunity. Their figures show Arsenal with an 85% probability of winning the Premier League, 26% for the Champions League, 56% for the Carabao Cup, 32% for the FA Cup. These numbers taken together describe a club at the peak of its powers. An 85% Premier League probability at this stage of the season is extraordinary. A 56% Carabao Cup probability heading into the final against a historically formidable opponent is meaningful. And a 26% Champions League chance. When you factor in that most of the remaining clubs will have higher individual probabilities, still represents genuine contention. Shearer's point about the quadruple is not fantasy. It is arithmetic. Win on Sunday, continue on current Premier League form and survive in the Champions League and FA Cup. The possibility exists. Arsenal know it, the players know it, and the fact that the camp is laser-focused on Sunday rather than dreaming ahead tells you they understand exactly how to approach it. Declan Rice spoke to CBS Sport about what has been happening inside the Arsenal dressing room. He confirmed that the Carabao Cup final has been spoken about at length. He believes the result could prove pivotal when it comes to the Premier League run-in. His teammates, he said, believe they can beat anyone right now. He described it as the first trophy that is up for grabs and said that if you win that, the momentum it creates going forward is massive. Rice is not just offering motivation speak here, he is describing a genuine psychological dynamic. Winning a major trophy creates a cycle of belief. It confirms to a squad that everything they have worked for is within reach. For a club that has come close in the Premier League in recent seasons without crossing the line, winning the Carabao Cup on Sunday could provide the emotional and psychological confirmation that this is their year. A detailed look at Pierre Hincapie's season numbers reveals a player who has been quietly outstanding. 2,233 minutes played, 90% pass accuracy, 946 passes, 92 clearances, 69 recoveries, 52 tackles, 9 clean sheets. Those are the numbers of a defender who is doing everything right. The 90% pass accuracy tells you he is not just clearing his lines and hoping for the best, for he is using the ball intelligently. The 92 clearances tell you he is physically dominant and positionally aware. The 9 clean sheets tell you the entire defensive unit is functioning at a high level when he is playing. For Sunday's final, his ability to deal with Manchester City's forwards will be absolutely critical. Kai Havertz reached his 100th Arsenal appearance when he came on as a substitute against Bayer Leverkusen. Across those 100 games, he has contributed 32 goals and 13 assists for a total of 45 goal involvements. That makes him the most productive player under Arteta in his first 100 appearances at the club, ahead of Gabriel Jesus on 43, Alex Lacazette on 40, Bukayo Saka on 36, Martin Odegaard on 35, Declan Rice on 34 and Gabriel Martinelli on 33. This milestone matters because of the journey behind it. Havertz arrived at Arsenal to scepticism from many quarters. There were genuine questions about whether he was the right fit for Arteta's system. What those 100 appearances and 45 goal involvements represent is the answer to every one of those questions. He has become a crucial player, a versatile, intelligent, technically excellent midfielder and forward who has grown into exactly the kind of player this squad needed. On Sunday, he will be looking to add to that tally in the most important game of his Arsenal career so far. So let me bring this all together for you, because the picture that emerges from everything we have discussed is a remarkable one. Arsenal head into Sunday's Carabao Cup Final as the favourites, according to the data, with Opta giving them over 50% probability of winning. They have not lost to Manchester City in their last 5 encounters. Their cup run has demonstrated versatility, composure and attacking quality. The squad's mental focus, reportedly locked entirely onto this game above all else, speaks to a professional culture at the highest level. The injury concerns around Odegaard and Timber are real. They introduce genuine uncertainty. But the return of Ben White, the solidity of Hincapié and the quality that runs through every department of this team means Arsenal are equipped to win even without their captain. On the other side, Manchester City arrive with an unbeaten cup campaign, a manager chasing history, 2 top scorers in Cherki and Marmoush, and the weight of potentially defending what could be Guardiola's legacy final. They are not to be underestimated. They never are. But the evidence, the data, the form, the mentality inside the Arsenal camp and the words of the players themselves all point in the same direction. Arsenal are ready. Sunday is their moment, and when the final whistle goes at Wembley, this club will want to be celebrating. That is the analysis. That is the full picture. Thank you for watching Melissa Arsenal Analyst. If you found this valuable, please hit that subscribe button, leave a comment below with your prediction for Sunday and share this video with every Arsenal supporter you know. I will see you on the other side of Wembley. Come on, Arsenal.